Welcome. I'm Suzette McHugh, and I'm the Industry Partnership Coordinator at North Montco Technical Career Center. We're located on Sumneytown Pike, right next to North Penn High School's football fields. And people say we're the best kept secret in the county, but today we're going to take a look inside North Montco and show you what's going on in the school. Joining me now are Mrs. Suzanne Cashley and Bob Lasavita. Suzanne is our School to Career Coordinator. And Suzanne, can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Sure. As the School to Career Coordinator, I am in charge of several work programs that we offer at North Montco. We have the traditional co-op program, which we have had since our inception over 40 years ago, and that is a capstone program where students who have completed the competencies in their lab are now ready for a real-world experience. They actually get to go out to work and spend part of the time that they would have been in the lab on the job site. We operate that mainly for seniors because it is a capstone program. We also have the PIAP program, which stands for Pennsylvania Youth Apprenticeship Program, and that program allows juniors and seniors to go out to work. The program is for those students who the teachers feel are ready for the opportunity to go out. As you know, in the classroom, we try to simulate reality, but there is no such thing as creating reality unless you're actually on the job. This year, we have over 50 students out working. Many of our students that went out through the years are now bosses on the job. A lot of the students that I have the pleasure of going to visit on the job are working for past graduates. Some of them are working for companies that their parents own, and those people also went to North Montco. The need for technical workers is very great. I am a part of several different industry partnerships, which Bob will speak to you about, but we get calls oftentimes for jobs that we just cannot fill. It was a few years ago when we did have the lull and the job calls were not coming in, but the job calls are picking up, and we have them in every area in our school. We actually have students out working. And I have had several calls in carpentry, several calls in the building trades, HVAC area, engineering, and unfortunately I can't fill them all. So the need is there, and if we have the students, then we can meet the economic needs of our
So are you saying
area.
you can't fill the jobs because students aren't in those programs?
Some of the job calls that I get, I do not have enough students in those areas to fill. Correct.
Okay. Now, do you find the jobs for the students, or do they have to find their own jobs?
Good question. We get jobs any way we can. We get jobs from, of course, the number one way that people find jobs is through other people. So I've been at North Montco for many years. When the students come into me, I have lots of leads for them because I have every employer who has called us for many years, and they are companies that work with us on a continuous basis. We also get jobs through websites, you know, that people go on. I have a list of different websites where students find different leads. And, you know, a lot of times it's just word of mouth. And so any way the jobs come into my office, I work with students to help fill those needs.
I think it's also exciting how you said the graduates get hired by these companies or begin their own companies and then become the employer that you're now dealing with.
I have had many this year alone. This morning I was just at a work site, and the person in charge at Satterton Truck is one of our graduates. So he is actually mentoring one of my current 11th grade students.
And so they just know what it was like when they were in school, and now
Yes.
they're giving back.
Yes, they are giving back.
That's
Yes.
exciting. Now, Bob, you're curriculum specialist at North Montco, and you also wear many hats, we know that. Well, how does the job force and doing, say, co-op relate to the curriculum of the programs?
Well, we have a specific set of duties and tasks, skills that the state has laid out for us. But what really drives our program are the local employers or occupational advisory committee members who say, look at these duty task lists that the state has given us and say, well, they're good entry level, but we need more. So we add to those duty task lists. It's almost like customized job training, where an employer could say, you have 8 skills to do CNC programming on a mill. We need 5 or 6 more skills, and we will add those to our lists to make sure that our students, I'm going to say the kids, but our kids are ready to go out and get jobs what the local workforce needs.
So the company can give you more jobs that they want students trained for in high school, while they're in high school?
Sure, customized job training, where they will go through this basic set of skills, and hopefully we can get them out through Suzanne, get them working. But sometimes they'll come to us and say, before we would accept the kid, we need them to master maybe a few more sets of tasks. And we would write that into the curriculum. As long as the student can master them, which most of the times they can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there certain requirements for that students must have before they can participate in one of these programs?
Yes, definitely. Any student that goes out on a work program has to be approved by their technical teacher. And the students who are going out through their sending school, if they're taking their academics at their sending school, then they would have to get approval from either their vice principal or their counselor at the sending school, as well as their technical teacher. If they come into the PIAP program, they would have to get recommendations from technical teacher, counselor, academic teacher, and the counselor at North Montco. So they would have to be recommended by all of those people before they could participate in the PIAP program, yes.
Okay. Now, before we continue, let's explain the PIAP program. You said that PIAP is the Pennsylvania Youth Apprenticeship Program. What exactly is that for a student that doesn't know anything about North Montco?
Okay. The majority of our students come to us on a half-day basis. And the PIAP program is one of the programs that allows students to come full-time. We offer academics. It is for the students who the teachers feel are ready to go out to work in their junior and senior year. So those students would have to apply. They would have to get the recommendations from all of those people. And of course, they would also be looking for jobs. We do have students coming full-time in 10th grade. Those students are not working. They're with us every day, 5 days a week. Then the students in 11th grade that are in PIAP actually go out to work on Mondays and Tuesdays, and they have an academic schedule built around that schedule. The seniors can potentially be out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on their academics and how well they do in their lab. So that program is really about 1/10 of the population of North Montco. So those students would be full-time, and then we also have students doing part-time.
So the PIAP program sounds like it's very beneficial for those students that want to work hard to achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. And do they have the opportunity to find their own job when they're in PIAP, or is this where it could be either way, like you were mentioning before?
Yes, it could be any way that we can get them. I mean, right now, this year, I have several students that are actually working for their parents' business. And those businesses happen to be graduates of North Montco. But, we also have students who, found leads through North Montco. I have quite a few students out this year in HVAC. And I think once the word gets out that North Montco has good employees, then they're calling us. I mean, I actually have employers coming into the school to interview students. Wow. They say, I want the best. I say, come and see what we have, and the word gets out. Word gets out. In fact, I have machine companies who want to be on the list for Frank Torrente to, as soon as he has a student ready, they want the call.
Wow.
They want the call.
So there's lots of jobs out there, and they're looking.
Depending on the area, there's more jobs, and some areas are tougher than others. But
Oh, that's great, though. It's great that the students have this opportunity.
it is.
And we were talking about the skills, Bob. You were mentioning about the training. What other skills would an employer be looking for besides maybe adding more tasks to the task list they already have?
Besides technical.
Besides technical, we call them the soft skills. Coming to work on time, being prepared when you're on the job site, showing up every day, not calling in sick, looking professional, all the things that employers want, that when you're dealing with a customer, a coworker, or your boss, that you look presentable and you act presentable and you speak well. So even so much as handwriting, they look at that when they have to fill out a form. Now I know 90% of everything is done on a computer today, so we now inject those computer skills into our technical curriculum. So we try to replicate industry as best we can, but like Suzanne said, replicating is one thing, real world applications are another. So one of the things that we enforce, most of the labs have time cards, the same way you would punch in and out on a job, and you write every day what you did on the job. One of the things that we tell the kids, if you didn't write it, then you didn't do it, and in the real world you wouldn't get paid, and your pay is your grade. So that makes sense to them, and things like that. But employers are looking. Some are so desperate for entry-level workers that if even they haven't completed all the basic tasks, but they have these qualities that trustworthy, they'll come to work on time, they will hire these kids and train them also, not just give them sweep the floors or count items on a shelf. They will give them tasks to do with a mentor or some sort of oversight person to watch them, and that's how they get jobs.
So that's a lot of opportunities for the students in the Career
Yes.
Center. And I know manufacturing is trying to bring back jobs to the United States. How does that play in effect with what you're doing?
Well, we have probably a dozen job openings now for machinists and precision machinery manufacturing. It's no longer the dirty job that it used to be with an oil can in one hand squirting a lathe. Now everything is done with high quality or high tech, very sophisticated CNC programming and machining. We right now have 20 adults in our program from the United States Mint who are getting trained at our school because of all the constant changes the Mint's going through with coinage and things like that. So if the United States government is willing to send their employees us to be trained, our local workforce know that the product we put out is going to be first class. Problem is, enough parents don't see that as a viable career path for their children. You know, college is great, and I'm not saying you can't be an engineer, but working in manufacturing is not put a widget one time. You know, it's not that anymore. It's a lot of mathematics, it's a lot of reading and writing, it's a lot of high-level computer programming, and the skills that you need are really critical to turn out precision materials.
And I imagine, since you're saying the skills and people are thinking the school is trustworthy and really training people well, what is the equipment like?
Well, North Montco is very fortunate. Over the past 5 years, we've actually gotten almost close to $300,000 in grants for some very sophisticated high-tech equipment. Last year, we just put a $50,000 grant mill into the precision machining lab, and the company that sold us the mill, they are so desperate, because what's happening is if employers don't have workers to program these machines, they're not going to buy the machines. So the company that sold us the machine sold us another a standalone computer programming board for the mill. So instead of having to actually work on the mill, students can practice programming on a board inside a classroom, and then go out, and once they got the programming right, they can go out, put a piece of metal in the machine, program it, and the machine will cut the part that they need. So that's a $10,000 item that was donated because it helps them sell. It's going to help them. Our students get trained, employers will buy the equipment, hopefully from this company, and makes everybody happy.
It sure does. And I know it has led to partnerships that Suzanne was alluding to earlier.
We have an industry partnership with Hunter Engineering and Automotive Technology. Hunter Engineering leaves approximately $350,000 worth of state-of-the-art equipment in our lab. The trade-off is 4 times a year they come in and do professional technician training. So our students are trained on the latest, greatest, most sophisticated equipment there is. And I've had former students come back and have current students train them on this new equipment, which is really kind of neat. One of the things that we do appreciate from the community are donations. Unfortunately, what will happen is a repair shop will buy a piece of equipment that worked well for 20 or 25 years. They hate to get rid of it. They'll donate it to our school. And although we're very appreciative of it, if they don't need it, if it's outdated, we don't want to be training students on it. We want to have the same type of equipment that the kids would see when they go out to work. We don't want to use on something that's obsolete or no longer being used, even if the machine is usable. So that's one of the things, our challenge that we have. And we have a neat budgeting system that makes sure every program has what they need. Matter of fact, by school code, we must provide that type of equipment to our students. It's just not like, okay, we're going to give a piece of equipment or buy a piece of equipment because we want to. We are required by law to do that.
Well, it makes sense. And I guess, Suzanne, you see this too when the students are out in the workforce and you have to visit them there. Are they training on the same type of equipment, and has working on the equipment at North Montco helped them in the workforce?
Yes, in fact, I remember one of the employers that called us. The reason that he called us is because he knew that we had the Hunter equipment. And because he had the Hunter equipment, his current employees were not trained on it. So he wanted to hire one of our kids who had the training on that piece of equipment. So yes, oftentimes they are seeing the same thing out in industry that we have in our school. It says a lot for our school.
Yeah. It sure does. And I know the Hunter equipment is for the automotive program, and I know it's always up to date. It's really a great opportunity for the students. How about any other partnerships do you have with companies out or organizations? With
Granger's, we have they make a donation to our school, a monetary donation for scholarships and other student reward types of activities. We're also working on a partnership with the Metal Institute, where we're hoping to place students with those companies inside that organization. One of the things that we're trying to get away from, we're trying to increase, what Suzanne said, that a student will go in co-op. We would like them, not just as a co-op experience, but go on as a career pathway and stay with that company. We call it job advancement, security, and a high priority occupation. So we just don't want the student to be a worker, then come June say thank you and you can leave. We want them to be more than interns. We want them to be employable. So much to the point that we're working with these other organizations to say, if you're going to hire this young person, we want them to be able, we're going to give you we're going to work with them on specific skills, but we'd like you to work with them also to make them, that you would want to hire them upon graduation.
Right, that makes sense. That would be the ultimate goal. Now, you mentioned high priority occupations. Can you elaborate what that is?
Yeah, the Department of Labor has identified specific specific jobs that are high priority occupations. In Montgomery County, that's a livable wage of $33,000 a year. So if an occupation will not make that level, they drop it off of the list, and that makes it very difficult for us to purchase equipment, because what they're saying is if it's not a high priority program, the kids aren't going to make a sustainable wage. We don't want to invest in that program. However, local industry still needs employees. You know, we want to, and what they're looking at is entry-level wages. They don't look at 5 or 10 years down the road. So our argument to the state is, not the Department of Education, they understand, but the Department of Labor, you need to look at 5 and 10 year projections. So when we do write for grants for thermostat equipment, we go to an online site called ONET. And what they do is they look at 5, 7, and 10 year projections. And that's the number we use in 5 years. Yeah, kids are going to graduate school. They're not going to come in at top dollar, but within 5 years, they should be making a sustainable wage to run a household in Montgomery County.
So if it's not a high priority occupation and you need equipment for a certain program, are there other grants or other avenues you use to?
Yeah, we
get
do
this?
other grants. We've gotten grants, everything from what's called a Perkins grant, that it's a federally funded grant, to a Project 720 grant, which is almost like a STEM grant, science, technology, engineering, and math, where they would buy, that type of grant allows us to buy textbooks. Not every grant allows us to buy textbooks. We have a weatherization program in our construction carpentry program, where students can come in and get certified as energy auditors. We got $125,000 worth of equipment, plus our instructors received approximately $50,000 worth of training for free. So now they have the same equipment that's used in energy auditing, and our instructors are certified to issue these certificates. We also just wrote a little grant, and people might laugh, but we're growing herbs and spices in a garden, which our construction carpentry students built the beds. Our horticulture students planted and tilled and nurtured the herbs and spices. Now they're being processed, and the students in the culinary program are going to use those herbs to cook meals, and then they're going to do a comparison. We have to do a survey as part of the grant to see which food tastes better with or without the herbs, the dried herbs that you would normally use off the shelf versus fresh herbs from the garden. So there's all different kinds of aspects of grants that we get that we can do different things with. May not be equipment, may not be curriculum, but we found different ways to use the money. And if we can get a piece of equipment from a program that is high priority, we can take money that was set aside for that program and purchase a piece of equipment for a program that may not be high priority, but still needs the sophisticated equipment that we need.
Right, exactly. Now, this grant you were talking about with growing the vegetables and all, I think that sounds like a great opportunity. The students are working together with other students from the different departments. Does that happen often, where they have projects where they can work on together?
Sure. Welding and precision machining, drafting work together, auto body and auto technology work together, engineering and internet technology works together. So there's all these different programs interact, and usually these things are initiated by the students. You know, if somebody needs something done, it's like, well, I want to make something, but I can draw it in drafting, but I can't machine it. So that student will spend time in the precision machining program. Or they need something welded. Or they want to work on their car and there's something that they want to do in line to another program, and they can work in there and get the projects done.
So it really does simulate the workforce then, different departments of a company, basically.
Oh, sure.
That's a great thing. Now, you also mentioned about your teachers being certified to give, offer certifications.
Yes.
How does that work, and what benefit is that for the students?
Under our ISO mandate, we have to, every program at North Montco that can be certified by a third-party independent certification entity must get certified. There are many programs. Culinary Arts has the American Culinary Federation. Automotive Technology, Auto Body, and our diesel program are certified under NATEF and AES. I'm using all these acronyms, but they are nationally recognized organizations. Print Ed organization for graphic arts and commercial arts. We have what they call AMIST for engineering, American Welding Society for welding, NIMS, National Institute for Medical Skills for precision machinery, health occupations, has their nurses aid training, cosmetology, a state cosmetology license. So we have to get all those programs certified. The program needs to be certified, and the instructors need to be certified by these companies or organizations also. So it's a whole process where a teacher gets certified, program gets certified, then they can offer these certifications to the students. State inspection, emissions inspection, all these different certifications the students, the teachers have to have first. Programs need to be certified by somebody, and then the students can receive these certifications. And that's something that employers also want to see. It means something to them when a student goes out automotive technology, has their state inspection and emission license. A student from culinary arts has their ACF, NIMS, AWS, all these different alphabet soups that we deal with. But they mean something to an employer because the employers hold those same certifications. that means something.
Now, Suzanne, all these certifications are fabulous, and I'm sure they definitely help the students. Have you seen it personally where a student's been applying for a job while they're still in high school and the employer picked them because of these certifications?
Definitely, especially the inspection and admissions. When the students actually can get their inspection license through North Montco. And that's something that every garage is definitely looking for students to have that. Now, the students do have to be 18, but they can actually take all of the theory work. They can actually take the test, and as soon as they turn 18, they'll have that. And yes, definitely, the employers are happy to see that and really want that from North Montco students.
I'll bet. So some of the certifications have an age requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But either way, when they graduate, it's something they take with them.
They take with them. That's right. And it did not cost the student.
They
Anything.
earned it right while
They
in high
earned
school.
it while they're in school.
If they come back to get state inspection or admissions, it's $200
They
to
pay.
$300 they pay.
So you have adult students coming back through the
Oh,
adult
sure.
program,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
and they're taking some of the same classes,
It's the exact same class.
Exactly.
and that's really interesting.
It's actually easier for the students because the students just go through a lot of the steps in 11th grade, brakes, steering, suspension, a lot of things that you would check as part of state inspection. They just got that whole curriculum. So they really do very well on the test, where some more veteran technicians maybe have forgotten some of the high critical things that they need to do, and sometimes they struggle with the exams. But it's the same course. They get taught the same thing. They get taught to read the micrometers and then the headlight adjusting tools and all things like that. So it is the exact. It's by state law. It's not like we make up the curriculum. The state says this is what you need to do in X amount of hours. So there's a time limit.
Okay, and
Yeah.
for any type of certification, it's that certifying body makes up the
Oh, yeah.
curriculum for it.
Regulations, yes.
Okay, well, that's great. You've both been so helpful. We've learned so much today. And I think it's great that we have so many students out there working, and we want to keep, the enrollment has increased a lot this year, but we also want to make sure that everyone's in the right programs so you can fill all the jobs you have. So thank you both for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
For more information about North Montco Technical Career Center, visit our website, www.nmtcc.org. For North Montco, I'm Suzette McHugh. Thank you for watching.